What I'm going to go through in this video is how you can potentially save yourself some money when it comes to your pumps by using different configurations. To start us off with, I want to use a kind of a hypothetical example pool to work through this. So let's imagine you've got a pool that's got a volume of 300 cubic meters. That's about a 20 to 25 meter pool. The recommended turnover time for a pool like that is somewhere in the region of 2.5 to 3 hours. So let's imagine you've got one pump in the plant room that provides a flow rate of 100 cubic meters per hour. You can work out your turnover time by taking the 300 cubic meters volume and dividing it by the flow rate of 100 cubic meters per hour. Let's say then we've got 300 cubic meters volume divided by 100 cubic meters flow rate. The turnover time is going to be 3 hours, which is okay. It's meeting the industry guidance. But a system like this isn't going to really give you much flexibility. Having only one pump means that you're either running at 100%, 100 cubic meters an hour, or not at all. It's a kind of either on or off type situation, unless you've got variable speed drives. But a lot of pools haven't, so they've got this potential waste of energy because the turnover time needs to be 3 hours while the pool is in use, but the pool isn't in use for 24 hours a day. Let's say, for example, you close at 10 p.m. and you open back up the next morning at 8 a.m. That's going to be potentially 10 hours where you're turning the pool over every 3 hours where you don't necessarily need to be. But you've got no choice if you've only got one pump, because you can't turn the pump off completely, because then you'd have a completely stagnant pool for 10 hours out of every 24. So what might be better is to have a situation where you've got two pumps. So say add another pump into the equation. So let's say you've got pump 1 and pump 2 that when they're operating together provide you with a flow rate of 100 cubic meters per hour. Now what you've got is additional flexibility to be able to turn one of the pumps off overnight, which would reduce your flow rate and it would reduce your turnover. But the significant thing is it would also reduce your energy. So there's potentially a big energy saving here, because you'd be able to do that for 10 hours every night. So 365 nights of the year where you're potentially running at 50% of what you would need to if you only had one pump. And that of course is going to translate into your energy bills. So you get a lower filtration rate, which is actually better in terms of filtration, because the slower filtration occurs, the better it usually is. So you're actually getting better filtration for a lot less money. To provide even further flexibility, it might be an idea to think about getting a third pump, because with this system where you've got two pumps, if something happens to one of the pumps and it breaks down, you're left with one pump that's not going to give you the flow rate that you need. So you're not going to get 100 cubic meters per hour, and you're not going to get the turnover time of 3 hours. So you'd need to close the pool while you're waiting for the repairs to be carried out to pump 2. If you've got the opportunity, it's a good idea to get a third pump on standby. So pump 3 is there on standby for when you need to get repairs done. What usually happens is you would rotate them. So for example, on week 1 you would operate with pump number 1 and pump number 2 during the day, and then turn pump number 2 off each evening, and then in the morning to bring pump number 1 and pump number 2 online. And you do that all week, and then at the end of the week you'd switch it up. So you'd have, for example, pumps number 2 and number 3 operating during the day. Pump number 1 becomes the standby pump for that week, and then you turn pump number 3 off every night, and every morning you turn it back on. So pumps number 2 and 3 are giving you your flow rate during the day. Pump number 2 is giving your evening flow rate, let's say your overnight flow rate. And then the week after that you go to having pump number 3 and pump number 1 providing your flow rate during the day. And you just keep rotating like that, but you've always got the flexibility of being able to cope with one of the pumps being offline for an extended period of time while repairs are being carried out. So this configuration where you've got 3 pumps provides you with the opportunity to save money on energy costs, in addition to giving you the ability to ensure business continuity if or when pumps break down and require reactive maintenance.